Welcome to the Lady Up America podcast. I'm Diane Canada, and I am so glad you're here today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Ladies, I am so excited about my announcement that I'm going to share with you today on the other side of the news headlines. It's going to all tie in, so please stay with me, and I can't wait to make this big announcement. Be right back.
Taking back this house, taking back this town. Mama, don't back down. Just a lady up, lady up, lady up.
All right, ladies, welcome back. We're diving into the local and the national headlines with our good friend Steve Gill, founding editor of TriStar Daily, TriStarDaily.com. He also served in the White House, worked up there with the U.S. Trade Representative, oversaw the Intergovernmental Affairs Department as the director. He's been a longtime host on syndicated radio, and he also does a lot of national and international commentary, political commentary. We just love him here. Hey, Steve. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Good to be back. Thank you. I'd say this is a crazy week in politics and in the U.S. and in Tennessee, but as we're finding out, it's always a crazy week in politics and business.
I know. Isn't it? It's like, it does seem like, it seems like, well, once we get past this, things will settle down. It never seems to happen. Yeah. There's a lot going on in the news. I mean, let's hit the highlights with you. You're just run us through it. What's going on?
First of all, the government shut down after 40 days and 40 nights. I say that it's a little bit biblical. After 40 days and 40 nights, Satan, and the Democrats blinked. And there's still some details to work out to actually get the government reopened. But it is interesting that 8 Democrats finally, after voting against the same exact package time and time again, moved over to the Republican side on this particular issue to reopen the government. And of the 8, what's interesting is that you have 2 that have already announced that they're not going to run for re-election. Angus King, the independent from Maine, who caucuses with the Democrats, is also likely to not run for re-election. So essentially 3 of the 8 are not planning to run for re-election. And then you've got the other 5 that moved to join a couple of Democrats to join with the Republicans to get to that 60 number that was needed to pass the continuing resolution. 5 of them do not face their voters until after the midterm election. So they have time to let the animosity and the ire, maybe drop down a little bit. But the Democrats are now eating their own as Chuck Schumer is completely under fire from the far left wackos like AOC and the rest for bending the knee, or at least not controlling his Democrats enough to keep them from going along and capitulating. So the real story here is not whether the Republicans won this fight, but how badly the Democrats lost it as they continue to go after each other, and I think diminish their ability to reach out to mainstream America, to mainstream voters in the midterm elections. That will be what we need to watch moving forward. In Tennessee, you had Caleb Hemmer, who's a state representative, Democrat in Nashville, who did not even have opposition in running re-election 2 years ago, has announced that he is departing. I think part of this is as he looks at the landscape of the Democratic Party nationally, with Mamdani winning in New York, with the attacks on Schumer and others, and when you see the rise of people like Afton Ben and see the rise of Heidi Campfield and others, the far left is emerging as the dominant force in the Tennessee Democratic Party as well. And Hemmer, as a relative moderate, by comparison, I think sees the future and has decided to exit. This does open a potential for Republicans to pick up this seat as an open seat. It's still probably a +7, +8 Democrat state House district. But you have Bill Hancock, who has already begun the efforts of running against Caleb Hemmer, who now will have an open race. And I think you'll see Democrats with 4 or 5 candidates trying to keep that seat. If they cannibalize each other enough, that may give Republicans a chance, whether it's under Bill Hancock or someone else, to get up and pick up a seat in Davidson County for the first time in a while.
Yeah. Do you feel like the Tennessee 7 race is at all in jeopardy? I know that's a +20, under Trump. I understood what you said last time on that. But with that get out the vote strategy that the Democrats are really famous for, and this being an off year, kind of a special election, do you feel like we should just count that as a red seat, or do you think there's a chance they could take it?
It should be a red seat, but there is a chance they could take it. And I have a couple of friends on the Democratic side of the aisle. I do have some friends on that side of the aisle. And they've told me that the fundraising for Afton Ben after the Mamdani win in New York has increased dramatically. So she's having funds pour in that she'll be able to put into the contest. And again, keep in mind that the early voting that starts this week rolls into Thanksgiving week. And then the first day that basically kids go back to school is the eve of the December 2nd general election. So there's a lot of distractions for voters. You got Thanksgiving, you got, going ahead and Christmas decorating. I think some people started right after Halloween, but there are a lot of distractions for voters. This is such an off time election that it would be very easy for people just to sit at home or be distracted, miss the early voting deadlines, and then be too busy on December 2nd to go vote. So the Democrats are counting on low turnout. If that happens, they have a shot to win. And this is a critical seat. We've got a 2-seat majority in the House right now. This third seat replacing Mark Green is absolutely critical to be able to pass legislation and not have the handful of Republicans in name only continue to pull the rug out from under us on key issues. So there needs to be turnout. And again, the ads that we're seeing coming from Matt Van Epps, from Afton Ben, are very different. She's got a much more energetic approach. Her ads are, a bit more creative. But I think that whatever ads and outreach that Matt Van Epps does, the rest of us need to be reaching out and making sure that Republican voters know how important this is and turn out and vote in early voting. And then again on December 2nd, if you haven't locked in your vote before then.
Yeah. One last thing. Do you think the filibuster is going to be annihilated?
I think it should be, because I don't think there's any question that if the Democrats get back in control of the House or the Senate, that they will, make those changes. They will try to stack the Supreme Court and expand that number, because they can't win with the issues of the current composition of the court. So while it is risky to do away with the filibuster, and I think ideologically we've taken the position in the past that the filibuster prevents sort of the knee-jerk policy making that is dangerous, we know the Democrats will do it if they emerge with a majority in the Senate. Now, I think that as we look to the midterms, we have an excellent chance to pick up some key seats. As you have Democrats retiring, we have a great shot in New Hampshire. We have a great shot in some of these other states. But we've lost in red states like Georgia, where we have two, very radical leftist Democrats because Republicans stayed home. North Carolina is going to be a tough battle. So we have states where I think we will pick up seats, but we need to make sure that we're running the best candidates, funding them, and avoiding kind of the infighting that has left us with wounded candidates moving forward if we want to make sure we keep that Senate control. And they will abandon the filibuster and pass the most wacky stuff they can think of if we don't do it and lock in a lot of the policies that matter, not just to Republicans, but to the American people. And I think that's the key. The issues that matter to us are the ones that matter to the vast majority of the American people. The American people don't support Mamdani, but that is where the Democratic Party is, and that's where they will be nationally. That's where they will push the Senate if they do away with the filibuster.
Yeah, yeah. And there's that bill that was just passed. I think it was Jim Jordan who dropped it over the last couple of days, trying to push through that if you're not a natural born U.S. citizen, you can't run for Congress or run for president. Hoping that goes through. I think that's long overdue, especially
well,
when
let's start with you shouldn't be able to vote if you're not a legal citizen. And we're seeing, again, example after example of not only illegals being on government benefits illegally. We've got dead people that are continuing to get checks that somebody is cashing. And I think there's a lot of cleanup that needs to be done. If we want to fix the issues of the economy, first of all, making sure that 11, 15 million, whatever it is, illegals are not sucking off of our economy, either working or getting government benefits. That's going to free up a lot of funds for American citizens. And the sooner that Congress and the Senate can get together and get that done, the better.
Yeah, totally agree. Thanks so much, Steve. Always appreciate you. Please, ladies, go to TriStarDaily.com. Get all your news there. Great editorial integrity. We love Steve Gill. You can trust him. TriStarDaily.com. See you next week, Steve.
Thank you. See you then.
All right, ladies, I am so excited to share with you that I have poured my whole heart and soul into the Lady Up America Global course, and it is now live. I am so excited. Oh my gosh, you guys. What is this? Why does this matter? Who is this for? Okay. 4 groups of people this is for. 1, worried moms out there. They see the moral decay. They see our country falling into lawlessness. They're burnout, exhausted by the barrage of the breaking news cycles, and they want to do something. They just feel so discouraged. That's the first person that this is for. So if that's you, oh my gosh, you're going to love it. Second group of people that it really works well for are women who are legal immigrants, women who have come and attained their U.S. citizenship from other countries, especially those countries where they had tyranny, countries like Marxist countries, communist countries, countries that were under Marxist regimes, that are seeing the warning signs and trying to sound alarm bells for Americans here. This course is for you. Third group of people it's great for are people who are here on visas, who appreciate America, but who see people from their home country trying to game the system, trying to come here illegally, slip in, and don't really appreciate what America has to offer, the opportunities here. So they want to influence their people from their home country and understand the benefits of doing this the right way, coming here legally. Last group that this is for is if you lead a GOP organization and you can see the handwriting on the wall, and you also understand that we have a real problem in reaching women, especially suburban women. The old get out the vote tactics don't work anymore. How are we going to motivate women who are, again, exhausted, who are disengaged? How are we going to get them to the polls? If there was ever a time that we needed those women driven to the polls, it's going to be coming up on this midterm election cycle. So I know you don't have the answer. I do. That's this course. So this is the solution. I'm absolutely convinced of it. I started building this in the summer of 2022. God started putting things on my heart that really helped me connect the dots on where we were missing it as a party, where the gaps were in us being able to reach women. You know, my whole career has been about motivating, inspiring women. That's my whole jam. Like even before I was in politics, I used to call my women's events ladylike leaders. This is what I do. All my whole career as a crisis consultant, especially working with majority women owned businesses and or teams of women. I know how they think. I know how they feel. I know what motivates them. I know what burns them out. I know what totally makes them want to disengage. And now God has shown me how to apply all of that hard-won wisdom and experience into the political arena, into the cultural arena. As Christian women, we've thought for a long time that our Christianity and politics were separate conversations, and they are not. Our faith informs our politics. We've sort of checked out of the political arena, and I understand. I get it. It's a gross cesspool, but this is what's happened because Christians have checked out and they no longer have voice on the political stage or in the cultural coliseums, if you will. Because of that, we have capitulated. We have handed over a lot of our freedoms, a lot of our authority, a lot of our moral compass to the other side. And they're more than happy to pick up that baton and run with it. So we now have kind of double the duty, right? Now we have to re-engage, but then we also now have to overcome a lot of the head start that this other opposing team has taken. And I know we hate to look at it as opposing teams, but we are absolutely in a spiritual battle, and there is an opponent. The opponent at the heart of it is the enemy. It's Satan. But as Christian women, as Christian Republican women, we have got to get on that battlefield and we have got to push back. Now, I know a lot of women, like I mentioned earlier, are disengaged. They're exhausted. What the Republican Party, what a lot of political, parties do is they know human nature. They know that people are more driven by fear and anger than they are when things are going good. So they use fear and anger to drive people to the polls. Oh, if you don't get out there, this horrible thing's going to happen. The sky's going to fall. Well, the problem is that we've had so much of that that women are just desensitized to it. Now they're so burnt out. You can only push with fear and anger so long. And what I know about women is they're just going to check out. We've got to have a different tactic, Republican Party, for those of you listening to me that are in the party. And it's not about driving even a particular party. This is about Republican values. This is about getting our values back, which are the closest aligned to biblical values in our culture. No party is perfect, but the Republican Party, at least the values are deeply rooted in biblical values. Do we have some bad eggs in the party? Yep. Do we eat our own in the party? Yep. Every organization does that when you've got enough power, enough money, and corruption at the heart of it. And both parties are full of that. But the values are worth fighting for. The values are what we need to get behind and start pushing. And that's what this course teaches you how to do. You know, a lot of women, and me included, before I got in this arena 6 years ago, I didn't know anything about, so little about how our government really operated. I just sort of slept during civics class. If we even had it, I don't even remember having it. We had geography, but I don't even remember a civics class. And I was born in 70, so I came up in the 70s and 80s in school. Honestly, I don't even remember having one. I know that the kids nowadays, very few kids are having civics classes. So a lot of us just sort of don't really know how things are supposed to work. We don't really understand our history. We don't really understand how those dots connect. So the first half of this course is a high level way of helping us connect those dots. Just like the spirit of America. What are the cliff notes? What do I need to know that pertains to the modern problems that we're facing? We really go into that in the first half of the course in a very quick and fun and visually appealing way. And then we switched over. Then now that we understand how everything's supposed to work, we understand what the soul of America is and what it is that we were built on. Now we turn around and learn how to influence the people that we naturally encounter, not strangers. You don't have to become some weird political activist. I'm not even trying to get you to get into politics per se. No, the influence techniques that I'm going to teach you are meant for the friends, the neighbors, the coworkers, the colleagues that you see on a regular basis, how to influence them. I believe with all of my heart that the way we turn our culture back to God is one conversation at a time. God changed the whole world with 12 disciples. He only needs the minority that are fully bought in for him, that have their name on the jersey, the Jesus name on the jersey. All we need is a minority. We can absolutely have a ripple effect in our society by just a handful of women grasping these concepts and beginning to influence them with them. This is the answer. I've seen how this worked in the business world. I see how it works in the cultural world now as I've been testing and battle testing these techniques for the last 3 years. Battleground cities, been doing workshops and all this stuff in the live format. Now moving it into the digital format, my online course. Now women all over the country, all over the world can learn these concepts. We have got to get busy, church. There is no cavalry coming out of Washington, D.C. We are the cavalry. We just heard Steve's report, and we know that slowly, little by little, the enemy is infiltrating. We see the infiltration in our government, both at the national and the local levels now. And we see this evil creeping into our society. Are we going to sit back and let them just take it over? Or are we going to get busy? I don't think that standing out on a street corner with a sign or protesting is the way we're going to get this done. I think this is a heart change for America. I think America needs heart surgery, and we need women on the field that feel confident and courageous and empowered to actually have these really important conversations with the people that they naturally encounter and start winning them back to our values. That's how we do it. I'm telling you, there's no cavalry coming out of Washington. There's not. I've turned over every rock and I've been in all these arenas, and I'm telling you, that's not the answer. Even Trump, as popular as he is not able to get all this done. This is a job for the church. So I'm encouraging you to go to DianeCanada.com, click on the Global Course 411 tab, and get all the details about this course. get engaged. Come join me on the battlefield. We need you suited up. Everything that I'm going to be teaching you to do is going to be a graceful, non-confrontational approach. In fact, your own faith is going to grow so much by you taking this course. As you begin to heal and get whole, and the fear and the anger and all those things settle down in you through these training techniques that I give you, your influence then increases dramatically. You're so much more effective. And it seems counterintuitive, but it's not. It's so important as we enter this midterm cycle that we are as strong and healed and whole as we can possibly be to best influence from that power of authority, that position of clarity, and from a healthy mindset, and win our culture back to God. That's what I'm offering you. That is the gift for the taking. So come sign up, join me in the course. Let's get busy. We don't have a day to lose. We'll come back next week with a more traditional podcast, but we just needed to get this information out to you today. Come get in the course. Come be a part of it with me. I'm so excited about it, and I've been working on it for months, and I just know this is the answer to what ails America. All right. I'll see you inside the course. Lady up. Have a great day.
Taking back this house, taking back this town. Mama, don't back down, just a lady.